So I think it goes without saying that I am tickled pink to have a hairstyle again, as opposed to just a big mop of hair with bangs going into my eyes and everything else. So I got my hair cut, and then I hopped on different trains and buses and whatnot. And went and got my Brazilian, got to see the woman I hadn't seen in so long. I showed her, I had told her last time that I was gonna show her the pictures of me when I weighed 72 pounds more. And that's what I did. And like another person or two before, person I showed in the shelter, she couldn't even believe it was. She's like, "That's you." I'm like, "Yeah." And then I showed her a picture of me on my 40th birthday, and she's like, when I was 232 pounds, and she's like, "Well, you were still beautiful. You had a pretty face." I'm like, "Yeah, I was still pretty, but I was a lot heavier when, she thinks I'm beautiful. I told her what that landlord and my Bobby, and she mentioned karma, probably, I think, before I did or something. She's like, "What goes around comes around, Laura." And I'm like, "Yeah, Bobby doesn't deserve to be happy with his third wife." And I had told him, like, if there's any justices in this world, one of these days, someday in the future, your girlfriend, when she'll probably be your wife then, will kick you out, and you'll find just you and Max with nowhere to go and feeling all alone and have no place to go to live. This woman likes me so much. She's married. She's like, "I only have a one-bedroom." She's like, I have a connection with you." She's like, "I would take you in a heartbeat." No. She's like, "I'd have you come with me." She couldn't believe what had happened to me. I told her I was going into the shelter. I told her I couldn't. She understood. She's like, most people can't live with their mother. I didn't tell her why. While I was grimacing or what, in pain at certain times, whatever, I was busy telling her what Bobby and his evil landlord did to me, about the phony 911 call the landlord made, and the letter from the constable and whatnot. And she kind of backed up what my shelter caseworker said about anybody can pay $50 to a constable and deliver anything. She said, I said, even a note that said, "Fuck off." She's like, yeah. So she doesn't, I have to know, though, whether he filed that with the police or not. It's totally just fabrications galore. But it scared me enough. I told her that she understood. She's like, "Yeah, you had to get out of there. You don't know what he'll do next. He's so evil. He called 911 on you when you've done nothing wrong. He's bad news." I'm like, "Yeah." I don't know if he even filed that with the police. Who knows if he didn't file with the police and he just delivered it, had the constable deliver it to me. I didn't know that. He probably knew I wouldn't know that, I don't know. All messed up. It was really early to catch my train, so I took advantage and I exercised, power walked, really, back and forth for 45 non-stop minutes. That was enough to sweat in this heat, so. That's the gist of it. She's so awesome. I told her she wouldn't take a $5 tip from me either. I told her, I'm like, "You know what? I wanted a friendly face. I wanted to tell you what happened to me. I scheduled this just so, that's true. I wanted to get it too, but I really just wanted to see her. Honestly, I wanted to see her. I wanted to see her. I'm happy to have my hair done, haircut again. I'm thrilled about that. I did what I set out to do today. Did what I set out to do. Did what I set out to do. Got my hair done and I got my Brazilian. It took her just about an hour to do the Brazilian, and she was just shocked. She's like, oh my God, Laura. She's like, good things have to happen to you. She's having such bad things that she doesn't even know the half of it. I was telling her, she was like in shock. You know? Imagine if I told her about Marion and my mom. It's ridiculous. We talked about my ads. I'm not finding anybody, and men who respond and just want. She told me maybe I should try putting an ad in a paper instead of online. I don't know. I told her I was going into the shelter. I told her I'd already went in the shelter. I told her I'm in the shelter. That I visit my mom, but I'm in the shelter because I can't live with my mom. I just didn't elaborate. There wasn't time anyway. The whole hour it took me to talk about and I told her, how Bobby broke my heart. He was a nice guy. He was my friend. Why did he do that to me? She's like, he's a prick. In the end, he was out for himself. I'm like, yeah, karma's a bitch, Bobby. Karma's a bitch. She brought up karma, too. In regards to the landlord and Bobby. Landlord's evil and Bobby's just wimpy, or out for himself, or, whatever you want to call it. She thinks I'm beautiful. She's the one who was shocked when I told her my age last time. She's like, look at your body. I'm like, yeah. You'd probably never imagine in a million years that I wait for trains and, have very, quote, bad thoughts, unquote. I won't elaborate on that either, but it's not just when I wait for trains anyway, but I really don't like that third rail thing. I haven't liked that for a long time. Oh, and I showed her the pictures of Donna. I told her what Donald had done to me. I had touched upon it last time. I told her I was going to tell her pictures. And she said, you know what, if I was in that kind of, she's like, I'd kill him. She's like, I'd go to jail. I'd murder him. I'm like, yeah, and I didn't even put him in jail. I woke up to two strangers. Donald had left me there like a piece of garbage where I could have been bleeding to death or paralyzed or whatnot. And let us call the police. No, I don't want to ruin his life. And she and I talked about that. I'm like, why did I stay with him? Why do women stay with abusive men? He didn't physically abuse me. It ended nearly, really badly. And that's the $1 million question. I told her the only thing, they destroy your self-esteem. That's what they do. And I told her right up front what I told you guys. I'm like, I'm not going to trust another guy. I'll fuck him, but, not. Then anyway, because she was saying to me what I've said. Well, it won't happen again. I'm like, no, it won't happen again. After I showed her the pictures and told her, she saw the bruises and everything, and me at 232 pounds, those pictures I've shown out here numerous times. Like, it won't happen again. No, of course it won't. Of course it won't. Like I said, and she was saying when I was telling her the story about Bobby and the landlord, she's like, yeah, I don't trust anybody. I'm like, well, you trust your husband? She's like, yeah, but she's, she's not young, and can't trust anybody. You know, Bobby was the nicest person in the world. I told her, the woman, his friend, had said, you know, he's the nicest person, and he turned out to be the nicest person in the end. He left me at the mercy of evil. She's like, I don't trust anybody. But when I first showed her those pictures, I'm like, I'm not going to get close. It's not going to happen again, because I'm not going to get close to any guy, you know. Well, I said it right to her, because she's cool as hell. She'll talk about anything. Think of the nature of her business, you know. And like, yeah, I'll fuck him, but that's about it.